In this video, we are going to do an inventory cycle count. To start off, and this is typically done for the Calyx store. It's all the stores that we do inventory for, we should do this, and we do this. But I'm going to use the example of the Calyx store since it is the biggest and the most complicated of the stores. But we also do this for Napa Fire, MCC. To do a cycle count, you do all the stores at once. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get an accurate count of all the items we have in inventory. For the purposes of Calyx, we're going to go to the My Drive online stores. It might be under Shared With Me, it might be under your Drive. You can also go up to the search bar up here and type in online stores and it will come up. Anyhow, open the folder. We're going to go to the Calyx folder. We're going to open the file that says Calyx inventory. This does need to be kept up to date, so as new Calyx items get added to the store, this needs to be updated, and as things get taken off the Calyx store, this needs to be updated as well. You can see at the bottom here, there's a number of different tabs, so these all represent different parts of the Calyx inventory. This is all of the accessories or, promo items. You can tell by the center PR number. So these are, at the time of this video, February 2023, those are all kept in the Sonoma warehouse. So you would want to print each of these. You can print them back to back as well, so that you can go through and get an accurate count of all the items. T-shirts are also in Sonoma. This is blacked out to make it easier to tell what size of t-shirt is being dealt with, just because there are so many different sizes. The hats are usually kept in Sonoma. This one, we do have a box full of beanies that were mistakenly given the entire Calyx logo instead of the small C. We do count those because those do get sold not on the store, but directly to Calyx executives. So we do still need a count of those, even though they don't have a regular part number. I've got the Yetis. These are kept in the barn in Napa. Polos and jackets. These are, to be clear, undecorated polos and jackets. So we have a number of Hugo Boss things. We may still have some Lacoste. As of February 2023, we're looking at moving away from Lacoste, so this may no longer be accurate. We may no longer stock those, but as of right now, I think we do still have a few. And then we also have some Pinehurst jackets and Thompson tees around. And then we have the already decorated items. These are all of the extras that got made usually during one of the big rushes like EAD or Q2 and ended up being an extra, or got sent back as a return for being the wrong size, something like that. These also need to be counted, and they are listed here. Because these are, they're very piecemeal, like we might not have any of, this polo, but we might have 3 Bella 16s, 1 in each color. So this, the note area is just left blank for you to note what we have. So once you go ahead and print all those out, you go count all of the Calyx stuff. For a single person, this can take quite a while. My general experience has been to count all of the things at Sonoma. To do a full count of them takes at least 4 hours, if not 6 hours. So this should only be done about once a quarter, or to maybe twice a year, and this is to make sure that our numbers stay accurate. This is not a monthly thing. This is something that would be very good to do in, say, January, and then maybe again right before or right after Q2. Otherwise, inventory should be maintained, more in smaller ways, just by updating your counts all the time. The counting in Napa, the polos and jackets, and the already decorated, it depends on how much there is. It might not take all that long, a few hours, depending on how many polos we've got in stock. And if we've been good about using up our extra stock, it shouldn't take too long for that. But if we've, had a bunch come in, that could take longer too, and that can take, I've seen that take up to 4 hours as well. All right, so go ahead and finish up there, and then we will switch over to Shopworks. And now that we're over here in Shopworks, we're going to go to the Inventory tab and Cycle Counts. So, you could start by just adding a new cycle count, but we're going to take a little bit of a tour here first. We're going to view all cycle counts. It's going to take a second, but you can see cycle counts in progress, or some were still in progress, and some have been completed. These I was using for various trainings. They are incomplete, but as you can see, the majority of them are complete. So if you ever need to go back and see an old cycle count, that's how you do it. We're going to hit the home button, and then we're going to, and from here we're going to add a new cycle count. Now, the best way to keep these organized is to start out with the year. So in this case, 23. Then we're going to indicate the month, in this case, February. And then what exactly are we counting? In this case, I'm going to do Calyx, but I don't want to count every Calyx thing in one cycle count. That would be unwieldy and just difficult to manage. So we're going to break it up in the same way that our spreadsheets were broken up. So we're going to start with a small one, and we're going to do Calyx hats. That's all we're going to do on this one. So we've got our year, our month, and what we are counting. Then we're going to go in here and add lines. So now we're going to filter. This is every part number in Shopworks. We're not going to scroll through it. That's going to take forever. And this is part of why the way the internal part numbers work is so very easy. So under filter, we're just going to type in CLX-HT. And that's going to bring up, hit enter. That's going to bring up only the Calyx hats. So you can look, if I scroll, or there's not even anything to scroll, it's just Calyx hats. It's so much easier to do it based on the internal part numbers. So now you can see they're out of order. There's not there's not really a way to reorder them in here. That's so weird. Anyhow, as you can see, the part numbers are out of order. For the ease of entering the data, I'm going to take the time now to pick these part numbers in the order that is going to match the spreadsheet. That way I can later on just go line by line, spreadsheet to cycle count, and not have to be like, oh wait, hang on, I gotta look up now, because we just did 7, but now we're going to do 1, and now we're back to 2, but 2 was up here. We're not going to do that, so we're going to start out in the same order as our spreadsheet. I'm going to hit pick, give it a second, it'll disappear. Hit pick with the other one. So now we're going to find the 2s. There's one there, and there's one down here at the bottom. There's only one hat for number 3, that's fine. And everything else goes in order. So we can just click them all until they've all ended up being included in the count. Alright, so now you can see they've showed up in the correct order, the order that I added them here. And we've added all the hats, So we don't need to add anything else on this page. You can see the levels that it currently thinks we have, and you can see some statuses here: apps in, apps out, and processed, and they're all no right now. So we are done with this. It's also showing here not assigned to any app. So what we need to do is we need to assign an app. So we're going to go to this Manage Apps tab. We're going to click New App, and we are going to choose an employee. Go ahead and choose yourself. I'm going to choose myself, obviously, and hit Create App. So now you can see that it is blank. We need to add the items that we just added, but because we took the time, they all have showed up here in order. So we can just hit Pick All, and they will move over in the order that they already were. It saves time having taken that initial extra bit of effort. Now that all the lines are added, we can hit Checkout. Are you sure you want to check out this app? Yes. This error is going to pop up every time. Just hit OK, ignore it, it's fine. Next thing we're going to want to do is hit Generate File. As I say, great, the app was created successfully. So now we're going to hit Done. And this is now popped up here. So we have a couple options. We can open Apps folder. And you'll notice the file path: this PC, Documents, Shopworks, Cycle Counts, Cycle Count 141. And it's going to have my name here. So we're going to open that up, and you'll see the actual cycle count there. I'm going to go ahead and double click that. And that is going to open this giant window. So this is what Shopworks calls the app. This could be opened on an iPad as well, if the iPads are kept up to date with the latest version of FileMaker. I've had Shopworks give me mixed answers on that. I've gotten it to work on the iPad once, and then they've told me everyone uses it on iPad, and then they've told me nobody ever uses it on iPad. Anyhow, I've found it's easiest to use it on the computer. You don't have to update anything, you can just go. So we're going to take our spreadsheet, and we're going to come over here, and we are going to update whatever our quantity is. So you're going to hit the Add button up in the top or right, and type in your quantity. For the sake of this, I am adding in fictional quantities. I don't have an accurate count in front of me. This is purely for training purposes. And if you decide, like, oh crap, that wasn't right, you can go back in and edit and be like, oh, I meant there's only 14. Now into this thing, one thing to notice is these are all red and this one is green. The green one is the size that is active for this product. So if this was, say, a t-shirt and it was the regular size t-shirt, small through XL would be green and XX and other would be red. You can still type numbers in here, but it's not going to save them. It's not going to mean anything. But for some reason, you can do that. Just make sure you're only putting numbers in the green box. And double check your color too. Like this particular hat, HTO1, has two different colors, a white with True Royal and a white with white. Just make sure you're adding the correct the correct color choice. Now another thing you can do is storage location. Oh, nope. Oh, there we go. So you could indicate where this is kept. This is optional. As far as I've found, there's no way to search for this information in Shopworks. There might be a way, I just haven't found it. But you can't say, show me all the products in the Sonoma Bay, or show me all the products in the Sonoma showroom. So this is honestly optional. I probably wouldn't bother doing it. But you could. Well, if they'll even let you click it. It's not even letting me click it, so I guess that's no longer active. Anyhow, when you're done here, you can hit this back button in the upper left. You can see your quantity is there. Now, another option you have here is this square. You can click it and turn it green and turn it back red. That's all it does, is turning it red or green. This is purely for your own convenience. Like, let's say you got interrupted partway through a cycle count, and you wanted to know where you left off. You could just click things green as you add them. So let's say, you've gotten down through here green, like, okay, you have to walk away for something, you got interrupted, you can come back and be like, oh, okay, that's where I was. I finished these 4, but now I need to pick up at this hat. You don't have to use it. I find it very convenient because interruptions happen all the time, but that's the case. So we've got another one here. Don't forget you have to hit the plus sign to be able to add anything, and you add your number and go back. So once you're entirely done with the cycle count, you hit exit, and exit is going to close this app. Alright, so now that we've updated all the numbers, I updated them to match what we currently have in inventory, so when we do this, we're not going to move things totally out of inventory. We are going to finish the cycle count. So we're going to go to cycle count home, and we are going to check in the app. So we're going to need to find that spot back. So it was this PC. Is it, I think, documents, Shopworks, cycle counts, and cycle count 141 is where we were. So we're back here now at the app. We are going to copy that file, open the done folder, and paste it right in there. So all we did was right click copy, and oops, we stayed in the right one, and then open the done finder and paste it into done. So now we can highlight the one that is in the done folder and hit open. Cycle count has been checked in successfully. Would you like to view this app now? Yes, let's view it. Okay, this is our last chance to double check our numbers and make sure that what we have entered is accurate. If something is wrong after this point, it's going to be very, very difficult to change. You basically have to do an entirely new cycle count. So my numbers are accurate. I have double checked them. We're going to hit done. So now you can see this has turned green. If we go back here, let's see apps checked in, or apps out, apps in, and then processed. So back here again under the levels to count tab, we can see the last count and then the current count. If everything's good, they match precisely because our counts were totally 100% accurate. In the real world, they're not going to be 100% accurate. There's going to be something that's going to be different. You're going to have found a few hats that got missed in the last count, or someone sold a number of hats but didn't deduct them from inventory like they should have been. So you will see discrepancies here. And do check and think about them carefully though. Like, you did just count everything. Make sure you're not seeing something really, really different. Like, if you see I don't know, a difference of 25 hats. Like, that's a big, big difference. That would be a time to go talk to Joanna and go like, hey, so I'm finding this Calyx discrepancy. Do you know why, why we've got 25 fewer beanies than it says we should? And just try to resolve those issues. So this could end up being something that causes you to do a bunch of investigation to make sure that our counts are accurate and we're doing everything properly. So the last step with the cycle count here is to hit finish. Make sure you want to finish it. Yep. And it's finished updating. Now it says processed. The cycle count is now read-only. It can no longer be edited. So if at this point you look and go like, oh no, there were actually only 47 hats, I didn't mean to hit that one here, then you have to do it over again. So just be really careful and thorough with this. And that's how you do cycle count. If you're doing a vendor other than Calyx, because we do that for Napify, MCC, you can see that there are, Stomper Store again, there are cycle counts for those in here as well. Alright, that is it for cycle counts.